go. Let's get it. All right, my beautiful people. We're back here again. Let's go through this. So understand, Dr. Life in the business of saving lives, first responder, responding to man-made disasters. So we up against what they're calling an election. And what I'm trying to say is this is really a major diversion. So to my people on Facebook, who I've been coming here for years for, there's a group of people out here in the world who are outside of my personal sphere of influence. Facebook is just personal dots that's connected to us. This is our personal dots. So people within my personal sphere of influence might not be seeking and searching. But what I'm gonna show you in this series is there's people out here seeking and searching. There are people out here seeking and searching, and the word says, seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be open. So to whom much is given, much is required. So when you are given much, I understood a long time ago, I was exposed to information that could save people's lives, and I had a responsibility because I was exposed to it to do much with that exposure. So I'm just letting y'all know. You're not deciding on a vote here. You're deciding to participate or not in the final events that will save lives. There are people all over the globe searching for answers right now. There are people everywhere searching for answers. And I'm going to show you that there are many, 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 many people who are way above average. So there's no excuse for anybody to be confused on any of the issues that publicly it seems like everybody's confused on. I'm going to show you a whole list of people. Who expose that the whole Western world has been lying to you about everything, simply so they can control the monetary system and make you a debt slave. And the ultimate crime against God is to rob God. The ultimate crime against God is that very thing. Because he blessed his people to be fruitful and multiply. The ultimate crime against God is to shut off fruitfulness and to depopulate his people, meaning purge, meaning kill, meaning sacrifice, meaning slaughter, meaning Cain kills Abel, meaning Herod sends armies into Bethlehem to kill all of the newborn males, the age of 3 and under. The Pharaoh in Egypt does the same thing just because the population is doing that which God commanded. The ultimate crime against divinity, the ultimate crime is to rob God of He blessed his children to be fruitful and multiply. And when individuals who are not in God's root family group, number one, they cannot be successful. It's impossible for an individual to war and commit the greatest crime against God, which is robbing God. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. Even this whole nation, you are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me. The U.S. has robbed God. The European Union has robbed God. The United Nations, the World Health Organization, the EU, the African Union, the kings of this earth, Great Britain, listen, the Germans, the fascists, the rebels, the slave, listen, they're all in the same boat. They came over here for the same reason that Pharaoh fell on the Joseph's descendants in Egypt. They were blessed. They didn't want to do what they needed to do to be blessed. So instead, they said, we will stop God's children from being fruitful by what? Sacrifice. What's the word for sacrifice? Holocaust. Wasn't no German fair-skinned Hebrews that been since the days of old. The blessed Nubian people of color have been being sacrificed by the people of color who are idolatrous and the Greco-Romans who are idolatrous. And they, all throughout history, whenever they got together, like when the Messiah was on the earth, we serve no God but Caesar, said the Hebrews. We choose the Greco-Roman idolatry over, and we will slaughter the king and all of his followers that come after. So what are the followers, what are the blessed supposed to do? Are you supposed to lay down? Are you supposed to vote for the continued slaughter? Are you supposed to hide? Are you supposed to cry? Are you supposed to just pray? Are you supposed to turn the other cheek? No to all of them. No to all of them. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels. So this is a supernatural war. So the blessed are supposed to put themselves in a position to supernaturally wield divine weapons and turn back on the water of life financial faucets that allow the land to flow with milk and honey and allow God's children to occupy. He said, occupy till I come. Occupy what? Fruitfulness. Occupy abundant life. Occupy what? Archangel investments in each other. In the least of these, my brethren, occupy what? Watchmen. Stand on the wall, don't fall asleep, and don't let not near one of my sheep get picked off. So I'm gonna show you a couple individuals who are not me. Individuals like Ice Cube, individuals like a dude by the name of Dane Calloway from DC, who right now are joining forces trying to demand that a system that will never, ever do anything other than war against you, because this is the historical stance of the enemies of those who is blessed by God. I just gave you a list of 4 of them off the top of my head in 5 minutes. Pharaoh in Egypt looked over at Joseph's descendants. Who was Joseph? Joseph was blessed. So what was his descendants? Blessed. Why wasn't the Pharaoh in Egypt blessed anymore? It said this new Pharaoh knew not Joseph and knew not Joseph's God. What changed? The Pharaoh in Egypt who knew Joseph, who worked with Joseph, was blessed too. And all of Egypt had the same abundant life. And the only reason why the U.S. cannot be blessed is because they war against the blessings of God, have always warred against the blessings of God. The U.S., the European Western financial system cannot be blessed. They violated the covenant and the commandment. Are you your brother's keeper? They cannot be blessed. So what are the faithful supposed to do? They're supposed to do what Joseph did. Joseph put the system back in place to bypass the curses and turn on the blessings. It's a banking system, literally. It's a banking system where the individuals simply make a covenant to the creator, similar as a husband makes his I do's and a bride makes their I do's at the altar. It's identical. It's that simple. Then the deeds that you do after saying I do have to match up with the blessed of the past. That's it. The deeds that you do after you say I do, just like in a marriage, you can't run around here and sleep with anything and everything. Listen, you in violation. It's that simple, yo. Only this time, the husbandman who's at the altars saying, "Yo, I want to marry you," he like, "Yo, I got storehouses, yo. I want to make you the head and not the tail. I want to make you lend and not borrow. I want to make you into the virtuous woman or the good man who leaves wealth to their children's children." All he says, you got to say I do, and you got to be faithful to me and my desires in my heart for the fruit, meaning the children that you produce, the works of your hands. Everything got to glorify and reflect me. That's all I ask for. So I'm trying to tell y'all that we got that covenant. And I'm trying to tell y'all, the blessed always uses those in a circle to extend the blessings. He used the 5,000 that was on the mountain. He broke bread. The bread represented physical daily bread, y'all. The feeding of the 5,000 was symbolic of once he gave his followers the true power, he was just training them on how to break bread financially once he was gone, once they had the power. So he symbolically used bread. And when he prayed to his father, he said, "Give us this day our daily bread." And then when he dropped the power of his Holy Ghost, his bride, on them, when they left the upper room, they literally broke daily bread daily. It says they added to their movement daily and every need was met. So he was going through the practice. This is a team environment, y'all. We've been using Facebook and social media to take our brothers and our sisters and put our team together, our supernatural USA Dream Team, and then go out to everybody who's looking for the supernatural USA American dream. I've been practicing with my family here for 5 years. Started in 2014, really 6 years. We've been practicing. It is pro. It is game time, family. And see, it's individuals in the circle where I came up, where I inherited this obligation because I had access. It's plenty of people in my generation that sat right under the same exact knowledge, same exact banking system, that got the same exact. But when I looked up in 2014, I saw none of them were given to people. None of them was giving it to the people. So I said, to whom much is given, much is required. So I assumed the responsibility. My family, we assumed the responsibility. So now hopefully some of y'all will assume the responsibility too. This is a great shaking. We shaking off the dead weight of those who just wanted to sit under this fake system. And we're trying to recruit some other individuals in our network to hand some baskets of daily bread to go all over the country, all over the world, and let the people know who's seeking. Like I'm about to show you, Dane Calloway. Seeking every day. Let them know, yo, the covenant over here, bro. You ain't got to go talk Ice Cube. You ain't got to go talk to Trump. You ain't got to talk to Biden. They ain't got nothing for you. All they got for you is what Pharaoh had for Joseph's descendants. Further Holocaust. All they got for you is what the U.S. has had for our ancestors since they rolled up on the shores as pirates of the Caribbean. Willie Lynch theory. That's all they got for you. If you really want our people to get free, then bring the masses that's with you. And I'm going to bring the masses that's with us. And you bring the desire, and we're going to bring the covenant. You bring the masses that's with you, Ice Cube, Dane Calloway, and all they got to do is the desire. The King of Kings said, when you seek, ye shall find. He said, I will give you the desires of your heart. Now, our people who are truly seeking and trying to lead our people to freedom, it's our responsibility who done had access to this covenant to get it to them. That's it. That's what I come to Facebook for. Any of y'all who want to step up to the plate and receive, understand, the individuals who fed the 5,000, they had baskets that never ended. Every time they stuck their hand in the basket, they went from starving to unlimited source of daily bread and overflowing abundance of meat, fish. 24 baskets that every time they stuck their hand in the basket, it replenished itself. And that was just the training. That was just practice. We've been practicing for 5 years, y'all. And all we're saying is, y'all ready to play? First, I'm going to show you the covenant. That's the covenant. Hold up. This is the covenant. Ice Cube created a contract for Black America. That don't apply to us. We bigger than that. We before they was calling us black. And we before they created they vulture capitalism contracts. A covenant is sovereign. A contract is something that you have to trust those who you are engaging in a contract with. And I don't know about you, the U.S. ain't trustworthy. Because the God that they serve is not the creator. They say in God we trust on the back of their dollar bill. And then they got a counterfeit, fake, all-seeing eye of a counterfeit God. They ain't trustworthy. You can't put your trust in somebody that already proved that they're not trustworthy. How is this a covenant, Dr. Light? The King of Kings said the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to wage war with the remnant of her seed. But he also said he would give the desires, he would give you the desires of your heart. And this is a queen who remembered that the king said, his blessings are on those whose names are found written in the Lamb's book of life. And every name found written in the Lamb's book of life will be standing on a sea of glass. I, John, saw a number that no man can number, standing on a sea of glass. So the queen went to the glass. So the queen went to the glass after saying I do to the covenant. Saying I do to the covenant. Then she went and put each name of every seed, and specifically the characteristics that she wanted in each and every one of the seeds that she was covering in the covenant, so that they could end up standing on a sea of glass. Specific detail. These are clauses in the covenant. It's like in your contract. When you go and do a contract, they sneak in hidden clauses called riders, especially up in Washington, D.C. When they create your bills and your laws, they got one main thing going, but then they sneak so many other clauses in, so many kickbacks for them and their people, so many other things that keep you in bondage and in slavery. It ain't like that with this covenant. It's transparent. When the parents go and stand at the altar and say, I do to the covenant, then you come back from the covenant and you say, in exchange for my faithfulness, these are my riders, my additions, my add-ons to the covenant. Cover them too. Put their names found written in the Lamb's book of life. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to go out here and faithfully serve. I'm going to go out here and go to the highways and the byways. I'm going to take whatever resources come into my life, and I'm going to do what you told me to do. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord. Lends to who? He got another text where he say, when you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. The test of tests is how you treat the least of these among you. The ultimate service is flipping the slums. Why? Because proof that the enemy is winning and waging war and winning is poverty. That is proof of the activity of the enemy. And whenever the enemy is busy, God expects his children to counter with investment, with abundant life, with I came to set the captives free. And then check out what he says. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him for him or her for her investment. We literally have a banking system where God expects us to judge the wicked by our deeds of taking the resources from those who are wasting and squandering resources and reinvest, literally, tangibly. He said, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I ain't had no place, you put a shelter. tangible investment. I ain't talking about hypothetically. I'm talking about a real banking system. Because of just as many of these that I could tell you, I could tell you just as many joints where he said, yo, cursed is a person who lends and charges interest. Cursed. That's the whole Western banking system. The Most High God said, do not charge usury. That's debt slavery. Do not lead my people into poverty, starvation, hardship, and then label them criminals because you have taken food out of their mouth, because you manipulated the system. Then you want to rule over them as police and as judges. This is what God defines as wicked. Can you vote for the wicked? Can you vote for the wicked to continue the abuse? No, he's giving specific instruction. I'm coming to tell y'all. All we need to do is everybody who got like-minded, who want to be free, and who also wants to erase the poverty and rebuild our communities and our people, the number one thing that he tells you to do is secure the financial strings of the world. Revelation 18. Then he says, the old system, burn it down. Leave no trace. The old system that led to the poverty, the oppression, burn it down. Leave no trace of it. This is why he leveled Jerusalem. He told them no stone will be left to you. No stone will be left standing one on the other. Your house is left to you desolate. Can we vote for the United States that has quadrupled the violations of Jerusalem? No, we cannot. So this is the covenant. I'm going to show you some individuals outside of myself who not falling for the lie. This is a brother by the name of Dan Calloway. First, let me show you what it is we talk about doing. We've been here before, those of us from the East Coast.
Just their own friends. They forget about other people who live around us, you know?
We've been here before. I'm not telling you something.
They're just their own friends. They forget about other people who live around us, you know? But we don't think like that. We like to help everybody. You know,
it was a dream that I've always wanted to be accomplished because I always fantasized of becoming a leader of a great organization. And then I didn't realize that I was the leader of a very gang that caused a lot of destruction, a lot of hurt in people in the community. And as time went on, I started to see myself and say, wait, maybe we can channel all this negative energy to something very positive. We started to change our image from using our hands and hurting people to doing something constructive like fixing people's cars, fixing people's apartments, painting people's apartments, helping people walking up the block. What's left of the old Ghetto Brother Club is still standing there.
So first of all, gangs did not originate in the Midwest, in Chicago, Detroit. Gangs did not originate in LA. Bloods and the Crips. When these Europeans sailed to the shores on the East Coast, from New York to New Jersey to Philly to DC to, listen, it has been all out war since the 1700s. They have been destroying And our ancestors have been here, generation after generation, repairing the damage, rebuilding, and coming together and deciding in each generation, yo, we ain't gonna do this no more. We ain't got to settle for this. Do you see what our cities look like in the 70s? Full of gangs. They killed a dude by the name of Black Benji. And every gang in New York came together and they did a gang truce. And from this movement, all up and down the East Coast, we all said, we're going to take our competition between our neighborhoods. We're going to take it to football fields. We're going to take it to basketball courts. We're going to take it to dance floors. This is when we launched. The NBA was born on the project basketball courts in New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Wilt Chamberlain was 14, 15 years old, killing in Philadelphia. He was better than every European that they had, and they had him playing in college. No, they had him playing in professional basketball under a fake name when he was still in high school. The streets of Philadelphia, the streets of New Jersey, the streets of New York, Rucker Park. They created a league in Rucker Park that's still famous today. That listen, Dr. J, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant. We decided in the 70s that, yo, we not going to slaughter. When Black Benji died, we decided, yo, we going to hoop. Y'all get a team over there in that neighborhood. We're going to get a team over here in this neighborhood. We're going to play football. We're going to play basketball. We're going to dance. Out of this movement came hip hop. We're going to break dance. We're going to spit rhymes. We're going to do graffiti. Anything that we could do not to kill each other. And we rebuilt. And then, because the Europeans, they was still on disco. They ain't never led in this country. Never. They were still on disco. They were still poisoning them up hippie tourists, Europeans coming in from all over the world. They come in the Studio 54, getting high. Listen, everything that they label the urban community with, the urban community didn't get on that till 10 years later. The crack epidemic. These cats was cocaine heads, heroin heads. And then we created listen, to solve gang violence, which they heaped on us. You see the city, it looked like a war zone. There's no jobs, no money, no nothing. Crime flourished. Every gang came together when Black Benji died, said, yo, no more. Then what happened? Same thing I'm telling you about to happen right now. Turned on the financial floodgates, and then what? The Europeans left disco, disco died. Then they tried to figure out how they could take over hip hop. You can't take over hip hop. But they created a rap industry, and the rap industry has been used to create the same environment. And if y'all want the solution, if Ice Cube want the solution, I was there in the 70s. I was born in 74. I ain't telling you what I think, what I'm telling you. You want the solution? It is control, total, complete ownership of everything. Every industry, everything. The fashion that we wear, somebody from the hood make it. The food that we eat, somebody, 10, 20 of us got gardens. Every banking, we own. We don't go to nobody outside our community who is going to make people in our community debt slaves. Every single thing. We need gas, okay. We gonna put the gas station in. We need schools, we gonna build a school. We gonna teach. We need police to protect and serve. These husbands and these daddies gonna be the police. 100% complete, top to bottom, full ownership, starting with banking. You want a contract, Cube? Here it is. Y'all want to know what to vote for? Vote for you getting one of these branches in your family and take the vow to make sure that you take that branch of the daily bread of the bank branch that we put in your family life and make sure that you're going to go to everybody who is worse off than you and keep digging into that basket until all of the needs is met. That's the covenant. And your residual family's income will be the return on investment from every one of those families that you break bread with and set free. The return is what you eat off of, not the basket. The master and the disciples did not eat until everybody was fed. Then after he sent the 24 baskets down, then it says they sat down with the overflow. This is our financial system. And if we put it in place, can't nobody touch us. Can't nobody enslave nobody. Can't nobody persecute nobody. Can't nobody nothing. They're just gonna go and be the vagabonds that they are. And we would have abundant life, period.
As we reopen, don't you want your pocket of America to still feel like its own? Or places with the best barbecue? Or where you can dress like a rock star? Or the one with the biggest donut? Or finding new ways to unlock
what's going on as far as, everybody wanting to converse about Ice Cube situation, and they're not actually talking about the point that he's making. And there's other topics correlating with voting that I wanted to get into as well. Of course, my other documentaries are already talking about that. Part 2's coming. I believe there might be part 3 to part 2. It depends, because I'm adjusting that video right now. Once I adjust that video, then I'm going to release it. I just wanted to fix something up really quick before I release it. Then I'm going to release that one to the black vote. A lot of people think that their vote counts. And I'm still trying to understand how. How? What makes you think that your vote counts when you can't right now name any president in history that has done anything for our people in general? And I'm not talking about just handing us a check, Like, for example, here's another example. Every single president knows that we are going through, for example, this is just an example, that we are going through a form of police brutality year after year after year, and nothing changes. Nothing. And it doesn't matter the president.
So my people here on Facebook, listen. Our people cannot figure out why in the world police brutality always finds us and our people. I already explained to you the answer that our people are looking for is you have an enemy. You have principalities who are warring against you. And when our people stick their head in the sand and ignore the fact that the supernatural creator of heaven and earth gave you a supernatural warning, woe to the inhabitants of earth, because the dragon, Satan, is as a roaring lion seeking who he may devour. And he has come down to you, and he knows he has a short time. He also gave you another warning. Be not deceived. Be not deceived. So you have an enemy that's attacking you, and then you have his children who are trying to deceive you that there's no attack. Who's trying to deceive you that they're with you. They're sheep and wolves. Like it's all love. We're followers of, listen, our people no longer can identify what the attack is, but the moment that the king was born, Herod sent soldiers to try and kill the king who the dragon is warring against. Any children, any women, any people who have the desire to live the life of blessings and not the curses, you are a threat and an enemy. Anybody who wants to live a life of blessings and abundant life and is not signing up to choose to live under the curses, you are a threat. And the entities of today, listen, Herod was the king, and he sent the attack and sent the police to carry out the execution. And we can't, God said, yo, if he the same yesterday, today, and forever, his enemy is the same. The police brutality is a direct extension of the fact that you are in a system that you do not belong in. You do not belong under the U.S. system, period. So what system we supposed to be under? You are a sovereign king and queen. Live like it. How we do that? It is a lion pride. You have to get with other, y'all run around here and use these African proverbs. You're not an African. They created Africa in 1885. That landmass was there in the beginning. How is it African? They called it Africa in 1885. How is it Africa? Y'all quote an African proverb, it takes a village. No, it don't. It takes a lion, king of kings pride to raise a lion cub. It takes the lion, king of kings pride to raise princes and princesses that will become kings and queens. And when you look at yourself as an African village, you a slave. As far as I know, ain't no African village free. And when you got the mentality of an African villager, the Germans enslaved and chopped up Africa. Same Germans that enslaved and chopped up the US. The only difference is we had the ability to fight back. The only difference is we have maintained our authority and Africa has not. Why? Because we maintained this covenant. I could show you my ancestors in the United States of America, not Native Indians, nothing. Going all the way back to 538 AD on these shores. Before that, I could show you our ancestors going back to 130 years before Jesus Christ was born here in the United States of America. Before that. So for all our people out here looking for the covenant, looking for why this is happening. See, the individuals like this is what I respect. He's sincere, yo, the man, every week, this man coming. He just has not connected the dots to the principality in the spiritual war. And unless you connect the dots in the spiritual war, you will never, ever see. You will never, ever have truth. If you do not properly connect the spiritual dots, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So you can never, ever crush the head of the attack on you if you are dealing with the flesh. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principality. This is why I come to Facebook, so my people can reach out to all our people who searching and be like, yo, we need to look into this covenant.
It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. Like, what do you think is going on here? Like, what makes y'all think that they're actually going to do something for us? Some of the things, like I said, with Ice Cube's situation, as far as his plan, from what I read, reminds me of ADOS a lot. Like I said before, I wasn't disagreeing with ADOS. I just felt as though it needed to be adjusted. And same thing with Ice Cube's plan. It does need to be adjusted. It's a few things, but like,
for all of y'all who don't know, for all of y'all who might claim that ADOS, the reason that we support Ice Cube and Dane Calloway and not ADOS is because Ice Cube said, I'll talk to anybody to see what is in your running for US presidency, what is in it for my people. I have a plan, but I want to see what's in, if you have a plan at all, or what is in your mind for my people. The difference between Ice Cube saying that and what ADOS is saying is they are saying we are the American descendants of slaves. Right then and there, you're over with, you're done. You have acknowledged the criminal's authority over your life. And the criminals that you're dealing with will never, ever relinquish. When you already robbing God, like what incentive is it for you to stop robbing God? When you've committed the ultimate violation, God said, will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me, even this whole nation. The robbing of God is when you stop his children that he commanded and blessed to be fruitful and multiply. Any nation, any king of this earth, any body, any being who, instead of being a faithful servant themselves, chooses to enslave, harm, kill, steal, lie, cheat, And the founding fathers did all of that. Every president has done all of that in the name of Jesus Christ. That is the ultimate definition of a man robbing God. That is the opposite of faithfulness. That is the opposite of fruitfulness. And when you do the opposite of the blessing, you are under the curse. What I'm telling y'all is the only way to separate yourselves from being under a curse, you have to take yourself through a process of renewing your vows in the blessing. And the first thing you always have to control is the money. Because he said, if you leave people into debt slavery and you cause my children to become least of these, that is robbing God. But the European has masterfully framed they've created a narrative because y'all let them define you as 3/5 of a human being. This is why they're able to do their atrocities that they do and still spit the rhetoric that they spit, because they have never, ever, ever included us, the people that they are robbing God of fruitfulness of. And they've never included you in their US rhetoric. All men are created equal. That's rhetoric. They already defined what a man is. It is a European noble or royal blood. All those that we labeled as 3/5 of a human being and commonwealth, that was women and children at the time where they did the Declaration of Independence. Women and children were higher than 3/5 of a human being, but not they specifically said all men are created equal. That excluded women, children. The dragon was wroth with the woman and went to wage war with the remnant of her seed, robbing God. From the door that was ungodly. But because nobody has ever properly challenged with the word of God. Listen, they came using the word of God. So the standard that you have to measure them with, this is the other thing that Dane don't understand. This is the other thing that Ice Cube don't understand. They presented themselves as followers of God, bearing the Bible, the King James Bible. So the standard and the measurement of judgment exclusively is that which they claim that they came here on. When you trying to come at them politically, socioeconomically, social justice, he said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. So you got to go to the same principality lie that they use to get their foot in the door to shut the door and put them out. And the strangers that are within thy gates. When a stranger comes within thy gates, according to that same word that they said, they listen. Either if they are of me, they will follow the commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Oh, they violated. They were, the U.S. is not a God-fearing Christian nation. This is what should have happened 200 years ago. We were supposed to use the very standard that they presented themselves with. And then put the system that God gave those of us who truly are God-fearing people, put his system in place. That is all we're doing. We're putting the system in place, bypassing their fake system and turning the blessings back on in the covenant. and making sure that only those who are coming to get the covenant get to come within our gates. That means buying plots of land. That means buying whole communities. That means reversing gentrification and taking back the neighborhoods where we was raised in and where our families populate and dominate. That means physically pulling our resources together after we present them to the king like the 5 loaves and 2 fish for the blessing. Then we never ever allow individuals violating the covenant to blemish our fruit. It's principality time, y'all. It's not political correct time. It's not politics. There's no such thing as politics, yo. The kingdom of God ain't based off politics. It's based off God's law and faithfulness to it.
What I like about what he said is that he's open to more ideas being presented for the plan. And I like the fact that he's saying that this is not a Democrat or Republican thing. He just wanted to try his hand with, hey, letting both sides know, look, man, hey, we tired of y'all being paid high dollar off of the labor of us and our ancestors. So he you know, he's acknowledging it all. And I appreciate that. I really do. I really do appreciate that. And anybody calling him a coon, unsubscribe from my channel.
Word.
He's not a coon.
Word.
He's actually doing the right thing.
Listen. This man got, I don't know how many subscribers, but this man been in the game for a long time. All right. That's why I respect what he do. And what he said about Ice Cube, saying, I'm willing to talk to anybody. I want to know what both sides, what's in it for my people. And anybody saying that that's wrong, that he would try and talk to Donald Trump, yo, you know what's wrong? All of y'all who talking about y'all gonna vote for Biden, all of y'all Democrats who getting on Ice Cube, do you know what's wrong? Biden said, I ain't gonna talk to you till after the, Biden is telling you, I don't care nothing about the people of color voting. Biden said, y'all not even important enough for me to even act like I care about the millions of y'all who might decide to vote for me if I simply sit down with Ice Cube who say, yo, I want to talk to anybody who want to do something for my people. Biden is saying, I ain't trying to do nothing for your people. That's exactly what he's saying. I'll meet with you after the joint. To me, that's saying, why should I go out of my way to make it look like I care about they vote when I know Donald Trump gonna win anyway? We'll talk after the vote. That's Biden saying, yo, I'm not wasting no, I'm just going through the motions here. I'm not really trying to get engaged. I'm not really trying to fight for every vote. What presidential campaign, presidential candidate who was really trying to fight for every vote would turn down somebody who has an actual plan, represents a group of people, and not sit down? All he's talking about is, yo, sit down with me. This is saying I don't have nothing in my plan. I don't have no intentions, and I ain't even going to try and fake and act like I'm trying to do something for y'all. This has always been the political situation in the U.S.